Searching for the elusive flotilla of Joshua Barney, prepared by Scott Harris, Ph.D. College of Charleston, the 20th of June, 1814. 20 vessels with the Chesapeake Flotilla, 3 barges with 24-pound carronade and 42-pound gunade, 4 barges with 18-pound carronade and 32-pound gunade, 2 barges with light 18-pound carronade and 24-pound gunade, 4 barges with 12 carronade and 24-pound gunade, lookout boat with a 18-pound gunade, galley, Vigilant, with a 18-pound gunade, Scorpion with a 24-pound carronade and 2 to 18-pound gunades supply. Ship, Islet, 2 gunboats **** scuttled in the Battle of St. Leonard's Creek the 26th of June. 1814. 16 vessels scuttled and 1 captured the 20th of August. 1814. Annapolis. If the flotilla can be run up to Queen Anne's with a very few men and a careful officer, with orders to destroy the whole effectually, and in due time, in the event of the enemy advancing to that place in force, you may pursue that course, but you will run no hazard of capture, and will regulate your movements, so as to keep in advance of the enemy. Letter from W. Jones to J. Barney 8-19-1814, V3, 186-7. If you think it best, I can move up to Queen Anne, leave the flotilla with a few men and march over to your assistance. Letter from J. Barney to W. Jones 8-20-1814, V3, 187. You will immediately send the flotilla up to Queen Anne's with as few men as possible and a trusty officer to remain there, and in the event of the enemy advancing upon the flotilla in force, to destroy the whole effectually and proceed with his men to this place. Letter from W. Jones to J. Barney 8-20-1814, V3, 188. I have just read your dispatch of yesterday, and have concluded to land 400 men this afternoon and march to Upper Marlborough, a distance of 2 miles from us. I shall leave Mr. Frazier with about 120 men, including sick and wounded, with orders to proceed up towards Queen Anne, and to destroy the flotilla in case of necessity, and me with his men. Letter from J. Barney to W. Jones 8-21-1814, V3, 194. Letters from William Barney on location of Scorpion and flotilla. The depth of water from this place, Nottingham, to Pig Point being already so well known, I did not sound it. From Pig Point to Scotchman's Hole, about 4 miles higher up, is a sufficiency of water for Scorpion. Above that place she could not be carried without lightning, and then only about 1 mile from this, pp. written between lines, upwards there is not more than 4.5 to 5 feet at most. The river varies in its width. Above Pig Point and to within 1 mile of Queen Anne's it is narrow, not exceeding in some places 80 to 100 yards, its channel frequently crossing from side to side. For the last mile it is quite narrow and very winding, and nowhere wider than to admit more than 1 barge to row up at a time, as far as the bridge at the town. Report of W.M.B. Barney the 8th of January, 1814, enclosure in J. Barney to W. Jones, V3, 184, historical accounts of flotilla location. The British flotilla continued advancing towards the station of Commodore Barney, about 3 miles above Pig Point, who, although much superior in force to that sent against him, did not wait an attack, but at the appearance of our boats set fire to his flotilla, and the whole of his vessels, excepting one, were blown up. A.D.M. Cochrane to First Secretary of the Admiralty. Croker, the 9th of February, 1814, V3, p. 226-8. I found here laying above the flotilla under its protection 13 merchant schooners, some of which not being worth bringing away I caused to be burnt. Such as were in good condition I directed to be moved to Pig Point. Admiral Cockburn to Admiral Cochrane, 8-22-1814, V3, p. 1957, Rear Admiral Cockburn, the 20th of August, 1814. As we opened the reach above Pig Point, I plainly discovered Commodore Barney's broad pendant in the headmost vessel, a large sloop, and the remainder of the flotilla extending in a long line astern of her. Our boats now advanced towards them as rapidly as possible, but on nearing them, we observed the sloop bearing the broad pendant to be on fire, and she very soon afterwards blew up. I now saw clearly that they were all abandoned and on fire with trains to their magazines, and out of the 17 vessels which composed this formidable and so much vaunted flotilla, 16 were in quick succession blown to atoms, and the 17th, in which the fire had not taken, were captured. The Commodore's sloop was a large armed vessel. The others were gunboats, all having a long gun in the bow and a carronade in the stern, but the caliber of the guns and the number of crew of each differed in proportion to the size of the boat. Admiral Cockburn to Admiral Cochrane, 8-22-1814, V3, p. 195-7, 7 schooner Islet supply ship of flotilla. There is a schooner, T was used as a provision or store vessel which was scuttled by, or durs from Captain Frazier, lying in Scotchman's Hole, a very valuable vessel that has a considerable quantity of public property on board, and belongs to some man in Georgetown. This vessel government, must pay for. If she is lost, she cannot be raised without getting a vessel on each side of her. If the British move a considerable NCE down the bay, I was thinking to get a couple craft alongside her, any get her up the public property in her would pay the expense, NTY times over. However, I shall wait your orders for this business. Letter from J. Weems to W. Jones, 10-17-1816, RG 45, 1814, MLR, Volume 66, Number 26. It was deemed prudent by the commanding officer of the flotilla to blow it up, to prevent its falling into the hands of the enemy, but the schooner Islet, which was left to the care and management of Captain Taylor, one of the petitioners, was run up the river and sunk by him, to prevent the vessel and stores from falling into the hands of the enemy. The vessel has not since been raised. Claim for a vessel lost in the flotilla service. The 1st of May, 1816, USP Vol 9, 1834, p. 454, 2010 and 2011 test units with centerline and outline of ship defined by probes. Of 16 vessels in flotilla, only one found. USS Scorpion. Theory of alternate river channel. General James Wilkinson map of 1816. 4 miles from Pig Point, Spyglass Island. Figure 1 indicates several distinct areas of deposition in the river basin. Using LIDAR as an indicator, the valley opens from a narrow zone at Site 4, and constricts again at the Route 4 bridge. The wide valley between indicates several episodes of river switching, where the main channel likely was positioned between Site 2 and Site 3, on the eastern wall at Site 5 that is now backfilled, and at the modern position of Site 1. Within this widened valley basin, the western valley wall has been providing sediment to the valley, white to red to green coloration in the vicinity of Site 2 and Site 3, Figure 1. 3 miles from Pig Point, Spyglass Island. An Arundel Manor 1769 areas of marsh in 1769. An Arundel Manor map of Platt's conclusions. Historic property lines generally follow the high ground of the current shore, whether that is river or wetland. There has been significant sedimentation in the river. The remainder of the flotilla probably lies upriver of the current wreck site in the 1814 channel and may be as far up as Mount Pleasant as shown in the General Wilkinson map. The scuttling of over 16 vessels might have facilitated the creation of sandbars and levees, resulting in the changing of the river channel. It is important to determine the location of the 1814 channel. Locating the rest of the flotilla will require a combination of geology, remote sensing, and archaeology.